I want to apologize for being defensive and not being brutally honest and acknowledging two things from the jump. Yes, Ro lied about how she was hit and what happened when she was hit, but she was in fact hit. At this point, I can acknowledge, however, it's way bigger than Ro, and that this particular issue is being used to drive division and conflict in the black community, especially amongst men and women. And that's why I'm taking responsibility for. I apologize for how my initial egotistical response contributed into this proxy gender war that's going on, that's literally hurting the camaraderie and unity in our community amongst black men and black women. That is not the goal or the purpose, and I apologize for that. Peep game. I was linking to what I can't stand when content creators do. When you experience backlash against your audience, you can't act like everybody in the audience are ops, because in fact, this your audience. And you can't act like the backlash is just merely illegitimate. You got to have some integrity and be reflective about what's going on right now. And I'm sorry, y'all, that it took me a couple of days to really get off my defensive bucket, to really think about what's happening. Not only did I let a lot of y'all down, I let myself down as well. I make content to elevate our community, not diminish our community. I make content to edify our community, not reduce our community. And I acknowledge that the last video I've made, specifically when it comes to Roda being in charge, was doing the opposite of what I want. Moving forward, I'll be less reactionary when it comes to hearing stories on social media and more mission driven with how I respond.
So this is where we are at this moment in time. We have the conscious leader deciding that he wanted to give an apology. Now, some people have decided to accept this apology, mostly, the people that follow him, and other people really not so much, but we'll get into that in about a second, right? But the first thing that I want to address is the fact of the apology, right? So we heard the apology, we heard everything that was stated. So the backlash was pretty swift and I guess severe enough that he finally had to come out and make a formal apology. So now that brings us directly to his social media platform, which he has done a lifetime of work directly on here. Got to meet, the first lady, the president of the United States, right? Has a huge following, a huge voice, right? So you go directly to his page, and you'll start to see, some of the more, recent videos directly up here. But what you start to notice is the lack of Brick Lady videos directly up here, right? Now, when you go to click on one of the videos, right, you'll see that this is 118. And you can clearly see, if I move this down just a little bit, there is no sound available because obviously I'm guessing the content creator has decided to mute the sound, specifically dealing with this video. So then we go back, and again, you see the lack of videos that he had directly up here dealing with the brick lady. And I'm just going to keep going because we're going to get to a point of this, right? Because this is
The
the
last
last one,
presidential
which is dealing with the presidential election. I know this is 2023. So that would mean that all of the videos that he has, in a sense, done, virtually all the videos that he has done of recently dealing with Osman, he has pretty much deleted directly off of his platform, except for this one, which is muted. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because it didn't even have to make it this far. Because there was an abundance of people on social media, including in his comment section, that was still trying to tell him to this day that, yo, this is not what you think it is. You're, fighting directly for the wrong thing. This is not the correct move. Just step away from this now and everything will be, completely good. Everything will be completely fine. You won't even have to do an apology. Like I said, people can understand from the aspect of you wanting to specifically come out and just defend black women, stand up for black women. You want to use your platform as a black man to give black women a voice. People can sit up there and understand that. People can see that, right? But when you have an abundance of people for the longest time possible throughout all of your videos, specifically dealing with this woman, telling you that, yo, this is not going to end well. And then not only do you refuse to listen to them initially when it first happened, then when it comes into 2024, you then come back out and you start making even more videos, and then you start going behind her again and be like, hey, we got all this information. She said this, she said that, yada, 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 all this other type of stuff. And even within that, people were still coming back out and saying, like, yo, this is looking pretty fraudulent. It's not exactly what you think it is, yada, yada, yada. And not only did you block them, you came back to defend, and then you doubled down, if not potentially even tripled down when it dealt with this specific incident. And now we're going to get into the rest. So now we have the opposite side of the spectrum. We come into the image that you see in front of you, which is Miss Sutton. And she has been on Rhoda's case for the longest time possible. She has done a lot of inquiries. She pulled up Rhoda's records. She pulled up the fact that this has not only happened once, not twice, but this is pretty much the third time that she has pulled this exact same thing. She's also pulled up video and factual evidence that, for whatever reason, every single time that Rhoda tends to go out, magically men are just putting their hands randomly on her, and she's just the victim every single time. And this has happened in another state as well, on top of the fact that her record also shows that right after the incident of quote unquote the brick, she was also charged with domestic violence as well, which is pretty interesting that a victim turns into a perpetrator later on. But again, a lot of the people that wanted to body block and speak up for Rhoda and say all of these things online, they did not want to mention any of those things, right? So this is in a sense Mrs. Sutton's rebuttal back to Conscious Lee, not only because of the fact that he ignored information and wanted to body block for Rhoda when everybody was telling him not to, but also due to the effect of him wanting to specifically call her out, say that she is wrong, and wanted to attack her in a certain type of way.
And then this really the part that had me scratching my ass. TikTokers provide police information on Osman false claims past alleged scams. During the investigation, detectives said they received call from Daphne Sutton, a mental health advocate and blogger on TikTok who believed Osman was conducting a scam because similar situation happened in Minneapolis in 2020. Daphne Sutton, the queen of accountability that literally made about 30, you know what I'm saying? It's exaggeration. I say probably like 10 to 15 different Twitter videos about her calling Houston law enforcement and saying, hey, Ro, yeah, she's scamming. Queen of accountability.
Much later.
I want to apologize for being defensive and not being brutally honest and acknowledging two things from the jump. Yes, Ro lied about how she was hit and what happened when she was hit, but she was in fact hit. At this point, I can acknowledge, however, it's way bigger than Ro, and that this particular issue is being used to drive division and conflict in the black community, especially amongst men and women. And that's why I'm taking responsibility for. I apologize for how my initial egotistical response contributed into this proxy gender war that's going on, that's literally hurting the camaraderie and unity in our community amongst black men and black women.
So the reason why his apology is not accepted, let's go right back to what Daphne said. She said, "This weak ass apology isn't accepted by me. He disrespected me several times. Now he wants to use big words to make his apology sound better. Denied, Conscious Luther King. You didn't use those big words when you disrespected me. Say my name in that apology." And she is correct, because the moment in time that he wanted to specifically come directly at her, he used her name, not only in a video or two, he also did it by way of Twitter. And when they were having, the sort of back and forth on Twitter, which for whatever short amount of time it was, he decided to sit up there and block her. Again, this doesn't make any sense, dealing with the fact that Daphne is a black woman and she's on the whole other side of the narrative, right? You have one side of the narrative where you have people that want to side with black women no matter what happens, even if they're wrong, they're still right. You have those out there that want to specifically make, enlist, and label black men as the enemy. You have Daphne on the other side, who is the queen of accountability, who is standing up for black men, who is lending her voice, who has built a platform specifically in order to speak up for black men. And the funniest thing is, she's been attacked countless times. It didn't matter the proof that she had. She had recordings directly from the police of which she called multiple times. She showed off the records. She showed off the inconsistencies in every single video. She put in a lot of work and she was there since the jump from day one. A lot of other people bandwagoned and jumped on it once it started becoming popular because we all know what happens when you have something that's viral, when you have something that's popular. The first ones up there to basically say this, that, and the third, they're the ones that's going to get so much fame, popularity, and all these other types of things. And within that, you have a lot of people that decide that I'm right. This is the hill that I'm going to die on. And it doesn't matter what type of proof or factual evidence that you have, I'm still going to go against that. So, mind you, you got consciously that was wanting to, talk about the article, the DA was DA's office was specifically talking, like, once it gets to the DA's office, it doesn't matter what you got to sit up there and say on social media. It is what it is at that moment, point in time. Like, you have, some of the highest right there dealing with this situation. You're not just dealing with cops anymore. You're dealing with people that actually do some type of investigative work, that actually have the resources, the money, the manpower, the information in order to go into this way deeper than everybody else. So, to see people fight against what it is that the DA is stating, to go against the media. And again, you had a news anchor try to get in contact with Rhoda Osman. She's on social media. That's where she lives. She opted not to do an interview. And as I stated in a live stream, if you are stating that this is what happened to you and it really happened, and you want to be a voice for black women, you want to showcase what it is that black women have to go through, then by all means, go directly to the media and tell your story so that not just here in America can see it, but everybody can see it. She ran from that. She didn't want to do it. Do you think that any of the people that were body blocking and agreeing with Rhoda called that out? No. Like I said, it's a little bit suspicious to me when the media, mainstream media, the largest platform out there, is calling on you to come to them so that they can do an interview. That would have been the best entryway for Rhoda to actually do if everything that she said happened, happened the way that she stated it. But as we found out, by way of the DA office, they said that it was mutual combat because Rhoda has struck first. The guy sat up there and hit her afterwards in retaliation. And everything only happened once from the guy's end. That was it. But even with this being stated, the fact that Rhonda decided to hit this guy first, everybody's still on the whole bandwagon of, oh, she was still struck, she was this, she was that, this shouldn't have happened. But nobody wants to take accountability or acknowledge the fact that a woman put hands on a man first. And like I said before, no matter what a man does, even if a man does defend himself, he's still wrong. If a man runs away from a situation, he's wrong. If he does nothing in the situation, he's wrong. If he defends himself, he's wrong. So again, the narrative online is that if you're a black man and you do anything, you're wrong for doing it. Even if you're not even doing anything, you're still wrong. So you're the villain, everybody else is innocent, and they're the victims of whatever it is that you did or did not do. So pretty much all of the discourse that has taken place has been helped because of people that decided that they wanted to side with Rhoda. Irregardless of whatever it is that the police, the DA, even the guy himself stated, even other people have stated, no matter what proof was directly out there, people decided that they didn't want to believe it. They just wanted to side with Rhoda. And here we have it. Here we have all of these videos directly out there where fields of people all over TikTok, all over YouTube, and all these other platforms said the exact same thing. Black men are the villain, black men are evil, black men this, black men that. So where are all of these people at now when it deals with giving black men an apology? Nowhere to be found. Do you think that consciously is going to give an apology to black men for all of the stuff that has been basically stated and started by way of him and his platform? Like I said, he has a very large platform, right? He worked on that for years. He fostered that for years. He invested in that for years, right? And again, as a content creator, you are supposed to be responsible to the utmost. And you're supposed to get things right before you inevitably get them wrong. And if you happen to get them wrong, you get them wrong early. You don't sit up there and wait all of this time and allow stuff to go by where it festers and then it grows into something else that now you can't sit up there and control. Because again, whatever apology that you're going to give is not going to stop what was already started. And again, Blackman pointed out that this is another tactic in order to make black men in America seem like the villain that everybody else has made them out to be since the inception of this country. And here we go. So now you hear Lee saying that, oh, I'm not going to be as reactional to a lot of, yeah, because you can't afford that again. You can't afford to sit up there and mess up again because that's going to be a problem. One is one too many, as a lot of people would like to say. So you can't go for a second time because the second time the backlash is going to be even more severe because people are going to pull up all the videos and the proof and everything that was going on from the comment sections to what you posted to what other people decided to restitch and post and then add on to what it is that you like I said it's a whole big mess. But the end of the story is this: a lot of the people that start the mess don't want to be there to clean it up. So the easiest way to basically, back out of the situation, let me just give a quick apology. That's it. And I'm going to continue on with some different videos. That's it. It ain't going to be, trying to fix and repair, the damage that's done or that you basically caused your side of the problem. Nope. That's going to be left for somebody else to have to pick up and clean. Because now all of the people that wanted to blame specifically black men and they wanted to side with Rhoda, nobody wants to clean up the mess that they created. They just walked off and left it there and act like it never happened.